Okay, thank you. It is it's an honor to be one of these three people today. To be a contest, I'm not real sure. The winner is great, but to present it is even greater. And we try to do that quite a bit. Turpin Farms, located in Madison County. It is a family operation. There's two people there, and that is my son Scott, who's home working today, and that's me on the left. But I don't have to work quite as hard. We started this presentation about 3 years ago, and I've had an opportunity to present it several times and to try to show what we're trying to do on our farm there. If you look at the picture on the left, that was my dad's conservation plan in the 60s. He did a good job. Guess what he got? He got to be a master conservationist. Well, in 2001, I retired from being an ag teacher. I did a lot of soil judging back then. And I said, let's change that farm a little bit. Hopefully, it'll be better than it was before. So I did that. And if you'll notice, the picture on the right is not an aerial photograph, but it is my design for our farm there at Red House. I'll have to tell you, we have 4 different locations. They're not all together. This farm catches everything and rotates in with all the different farms. We're a cow-calf operation. The furthest farm is about 11 miles away from this farm. And then we have 2 other locations that are a little closer. We run about 120 cows. We background our calves. We raise heifers. We raise bred heifers. So this farm is really a part of that rotation. Now, if you'll notice, what's the first thing we have to do? If you're going to put a lot of fences in, you can do that and you can move them. But when you put waters in, you got it's there for a long time. So we tried to make sure that we put our waters in a place. Did we make any mistakes? Sure we did. You wish, boy, I wish this one was over here, but it's not. So you got to work around that. So if you look the farm layout to the left, fields 1 and 2, we wean everything here and grow it from the different farms. So these are heifer lots. This is the only pond on the farm. It's got a concrete tank below it. I will say this. This was on Channel 27 news back, remember we had about 25 days below freezing. All of the other tanks on the farm froze. This tank did not freeze because this is a pond with a spring in it. We run it through that concrete tank, drill a 1/4 inch or 3/16 inch hole in the top of that PVC pipe with that little bitty stream of water. All those frozen days, that was the only running water on the farm. So we had to move all the cows there that were on that farm. But it works. So that pond's been there several years. It's fenced. If you notice there, we can actually, any of the dotted lines are temporary fences. The solid lines are supposedly 1 strand of high tensile. 1 strand. The outside fences are 5 strands of high tensile, 3 of them being hot. I don't know which ones they are because they all can change. People getting across them don't know which ones they are either. But if you notice, this is a very unique field here because it funnels toward the barn. We calve all of our heifers in that lot because, a lot of those heifers need a little help. And you don't need to run them, you need to work them. So they work there. The entire farm, when we work cattle, comes into this field right here. We come up this way. Here's the barn, the working facility here. Field number 3 is a hay field. Field number 4 is a creek bottom. Field number 5, if you'll notice, if you remember, that used to be 75 acres. There's 155 acres in this particular farm. This one field used to be all together. Field number 6, that's my experimental field. I've had teeth in it. I've had summer annuals in it. I've had, trying to check out what works for us. So field number 6, that was actually a tobacco patch many, many years ago. Field number 7, if you notice, it's got a lot of woods and a lot of hillsides, and we can divide that. This is very important. This is our bull lots. We run a 4 to 5 bulls at a time, and we're calving season. We have 60-day calving season in the fall, 60-day calving season in the spring. The rest of the time, the bulls are in these lots. We finished this past Sunday with our fall calving. We had all of them in September and October. 85% of them came in September, which is what we were striving for. But that's the layout of the farm. Like I said, the checkered lines, we can put temporary fences in. The solid lines are one strand of high tensile. The only problem we have with the one strand of high tensile is sometimes the baby calves get under it and they want to wander off. But the cows all understand it. Okay, this is our water system. We have Ritchie waters. This is this concrete tank that ran all during that hot weather. We take the float off. We put a PVC pipe with a real small hole right at the water's edge, and it keeps it churning. I wished I had a picture of that, but I don't. But it stayed running all the time during that real cold weather. I have a pump stay. I've got a 8-bent tobacco barn. We run it into this 16,000-gallon cistern. We can pump it to all these Ritchie tanks. Of course, this one's not on it, but there's 6 Ritchie tanks on the farm. With the turn of 2 different cutoffs, we can go from city water, what we call city water, to cistern water, and saves a lot of money. If it rains like it did this year, we don't have to turn city water on. But that's our water system, and those are in every field. These are just pictures of the fencing. I will say one thing I do with fencing. Every fence on the farm gets sprayed with Roundup and Grazon, not Roundup. That's a bad word, right? Ridamil, not Ridamil, Remedy. Remedy and Grazon. It's harder up here than it is out there. You notice that? Did you ever notice that? I knew it started with an R. Well, I wasn't sure, but now why did I put Remedy? Well, invasive honeysuckle. Keeps all those down. Guess what those cows do for me? They weed eat on those fences because they love that grass where it's been underneath that fence. I've got a cow or 2 that'll get down on their knees and graze it, just as long as they don't touch that wire. So if you can imagine, as many fences as we've got, how much extra land you got when you can graze under every fence. And that's important, I think. Winter cover crop. This is really good. We've tried that. It works. Not terribly cheap, but it works. You get some really, a really good stand of winter cover crop. This is additional winter cover crop. We cut it for hay. Made a lot of hay, a lot of growth. Summer cover crop, we grazed it. I learned one thing. If you wait too late, it gets real tall. They don't graze it as well as if you cut it down, if you graze it down here. So what we try to do is, when it's waist high, graze it. When it gets knee high, get them off. And it'll grow back real good. So like we said, that was my experimental field. I tried different things. This field right here would be time to go in. This got a little bit big. Hay. We do hay a lot different than most people. My son and I do. Brandon can attest to this. We cut hay one time a year if we get, if we have a normal spring. Last spring, we cut all of our hay in 12 days. And we get with it when we get a break in the weather. In 12 days, we cut all of our hay. We put that hay inside our own stack pads, and then we let the cows bale the rest of the year. And that's, it's not cheap to put up hay. So if you can graze it, and that's our thought, our hay fields are used for grazing, and we let the cows bale the next crop of hay. So, got 5 minutes. Take care of that hay when you get it up. Keep it dry. Keep it up off the ground. And put it up in as good a condition as you possibly can here in Kentucky. By really pushing it hard when we start baling, we get it as early as we can. Hopefully, we get it all first week or two in June. It's mostly grass hay. And then we take care of it when we feed it. We don't feed nearly as much hay as a lot of people do, because we feed them what they need, not what they want to lay on. Okay, so if we got a group of cows, we want to feed them so much. In the next 3 days, we feed it, make them eat it up in these semi-cone feeders on pads. The only time if we unroll hay is when we start calving, and so the calves can lay. We do a lot of field days. Brandon and I, we've worked real good together for a number of years. We've had a weed study field day with Dr. J.D. Green, and I will say Dr. J.D. Green is one of my former ag students in high school. I'm real proud of J.D. I didn't teach him much, but he learned a lot. He had a 3-year study, and believe me, they really worked out there. I saw J.D. really sweating a few days when they came out, and Brandon also. We had 2 field days in the last few years. This was the summer annual field day. One thing I really love to do is Brandon has Leadership Madison County. We bring out non-traditional people, and they learn about farming and forage farming. I had a person ask me one day, he said, "What do you do?" I said, "I farm." He said, "What do you grow?" I said, "Grass." He said, "What else you grow?" I said, "Grass." He said, "Why do you just grow grass?" I said, "That's the reason. Because we produce beef off of that grass." I even had a cousin of mine in Illinois. I thought they knew better than this. He said, How do you harvest your grass?" I said, "Through cows." And that's my story. And I want those people to know that. We don't grow any corn anymore. Those bottoms that my daddy used to grow corn in, we grow grass in it now. Guess what we'd have if we didn't have cows on it? We'd be fighting Johnson grass. I don't have a sprig of Johnson grass down there. I guarantee the roots are there, but those cows take care of that. Any questions? Yes. Yes. Okay, whatever the soil conservation people told me to use. Okay, and it was about 7 things. It was 2 kinds of millet. It was corn. There were soybeans, but I just followed their recommendations. Okay. Thank you very much.